it's arguably one of our largest carbon emission impacts we have as a school.
Yes, the environment is important, but at the same time, growing the child into a person is actually more important for me as a parent.
Hi, I'm Louisa Choi. I'm a year 13 student and I am a leader of Drop in the Ocean.
Hi, I'm Sean Lynch. I'm head of school.
Hi, my name is Jasmine Sheng. I'm a parent and an alum. I am from the class of 1994, which was the first graduating year. I have 3 kids at school right now, and they're in year 7, year 10, and year 11, and I'm currently the president of CISBITA.
Hi, I'm Tanya Wen, a year 10 student, and I'm a student council representative.
Hi, I'm Tracy Hayes-Williams. I'm Head of Student Life and Administrative Services in the primary school.
Hi, I'm Georgie Redding. I'm a CAS alumna from the class of 2014.
Okay, the first prompt is, I care deeply for environmental issues.
It's so much more important than, are we using plastic? Like, it goes so much deeper than that and connects to so many other areas of social life that are really important. So I do care deeply about the environment.
And we need more people to be caring about it and taking action, because I think at a federal level, not a lot is happening. I think it's down to people like us, the public, to make change.
It strikes me that there's no greater challenge to the world than climate change. And so it seems absolutely imperative that we care deeply about what we should be doing to solve that problem.
Actually, I really care about the issue, but then my background professionally is actually in accounting. And, whatever I do, I always think about the costs and benefits. And sometimes with things like sustainability, there are, at the moment in time, there are a lot of cost and there's not so much efficiency in getting things done if you always have to think about sustainability.
Yeah, definitely. I think you bring up a really important point about like cost versus benefit. I'm standing over here while I'm wearing a single-use mask. Like, there are certain times when it's more convenient to be less sustainable.
Sometimes when you want to get things done, it's actually quicker if you don't think about sustainability. But at the back of my mind, I think it's very important.
I think it's more about building a sustainable mindset that's always considering what impact is this going to have in the future, as well as right now, and seeing if you can do that cost-benefit analysis and be like, well, maybe I can just wait a little bit longer and then get a reusable bottle and fill that up.
I grew up with sports days and cross-country races being canceled because of air pollution levels being too high. Swimming gala is the same. You go to the beach and there's rubbish on the beach and you're swimming in it, and that's it becomes very normalized.
It's going to affect my future and future generations as well, and I think we do need to do something about it as quick as possible. And so in that case, I strongly agree.
CIS should take on Green Monday.
There's 2 parts to Green Monday. There's the actual initiative and there's being involved in those, and there's also the education piece of it. So both of those areas are raising awareness in students and in parents and faculty.
I think that it can be really valuable. I also think in general, students just pay more attention if they know it's a special thing or it's a specific group coming to talk to them. And they don't just do talks, they do presentations. And I just think it's an amazing resource that takes a lot of effort, or just not effort, but like stress off of the school to have to organize all of this on top of what they already have to do.
I'm sold. Because at first I wasn't actually aware of the Green Monday education part of it. I thought it was just telling kids you have to eat vegetarian meals on Monday, but if you say there are also presentations and educational modules that kids can take and then learn about it and actually willingly partake in this, then I think that would be really beneficial to students and to the school.
As a mom, like I personally support Green Monday, but I also care that my kids are eating because, like, when my kids were in primary school, I got to take what meals they would select each day, and usually on a Green Monday when there's vegetarian options, my kids don't want those options.
It's one meal, one day of the week, and I think this wouldn't just be boiled vegetables and rice. There would be a nutritional aspect to it. There would be plant-based protein, from everything from your Impossible foods to nuts and soy and whatever else. That I think would be really important to make it a nutritious and yummy meal, so that
It's like also educational.
right. And
I think a lot of people don't know how many vegetarian options there really are.
Seems like it takes a village in the sense that we're going to bring in outside experts who can actually share some insights that we might not necessarily have just spontaneously like that on our own. But it's also committing to a movement and remembering that we're part of a broader group of people who also care similarly like us about these matters.
That it brings to mind, boiled cabbage, dry rice, and like this weird meat-like thing that isn't actually meat.
CIS should integrate sustainability into the curriculum of every year group.
If you frame it in a way that connects it to what they're learning. So if you take a group of psychology students and you talk about the psychology behind environmentalism in that flexi session, maybe with their psychology teacher, I think that can, even if they're not fully paying attention, it builds those neural networks, so people are making those connections.
Integrating sustainability into the classroom shouldn't really be too difficult. It's just relating it to what's happening, and I think it really should be a priority.
Like changing the system rather than not just mentalities and identities alone. In that sense, systems are by nature interdisciplinary. So the more we actually spread that environmental awareness and knowledge across the fields of study at school, probably the better we're equipping students for moving forward in the future.
Whatever we do, whatever we teach, any actions we make should have that at the back of our mind.
Yeah, I was actually going to make the same comment, Jasmine. I think that in the primary school at least, there is some element of environmental education at all year levels. But I think that, teaching it once for 4 weeks, 6 weeks every year is not enough. We want to be equipping students not just, I guess, with the knowledge, but with the understanding.
In year 9, we had renewable energy, and it was put into our science classes, and we could do all these equations and formulas, and we were actually seeing how this worked. So I thought that was really interesting and more engaging than just like giving people slides to listen to. And in year 10, we have project-based learning, so we literally have to embark on this adventure of trying to tackle a problem, which right now is making space, or how can we rewild the world, the planet. So yeah, that's how you integrate sustainability into the curriculum, and it's very easily done.
You also maybe think about the place where we are and how important it is in the curriculum from reception all the way through year 13 to actually be rooted here. And so at all those different year levels, you mentioned field trips and so on, that sort of experiential learning of the environment in such a place as beautiful as Hong Kong seems to be a really promising opportunity for us across the curriculum.
CIS does not do enough to foster a community of environmental stewardship.
This issue, like even if we meet all those goals they tell us about, it will never be one of those things where we can just let go of it. I think we will always kind of be in this trying to work harder. In saying that, I'm not in completely agree or strongly agree, because I think the school has put so much effort into it, especially with the audit. But there are areas that, of course, we can always improve and work upon. But I do recognize like the amount of effort that has been in so far, especially from the student perspective.
Yeah, I agree with Louisa. I think it's not for want of trying. I think the school is moving towards me being, further over this way. But I think right now we're still trying to figure out exactly what it is we need to do in order to really promote that community in the ways that we would like to and in the ways that we know are important.
Mr. Lynch is here. The head of school is very supportive of this. He's here today. He's a very busy man, spending 2 hours of his time participating in this, and he's super supportive. This means that, with the leader of the school completely supportive of this student initiative.
But at some point, I don't think the school can just keep on, saying, okay, you have to support sustainability. At some point, it's up to the students to, take up the torch and say, all right, we have to battle climate change. The school doesn't have infinite resources.
There are so many clubs, there are so many initiatives that are driven by students. And I think that's a characteristic that maybe isn't appreciated enough in some ways, because you're empowering the students to do something.
But I'm influenced by you, Jody. I might follow you in that direction. Maybe I should follow. I'll send over here. I think mostly because my experience thus far is that when I talk to the students and I hear from them, they have this idealism and they have this commitment to action, but they also feel that the school doesn't always facilitate the vision that they have for the world around them, and particularly in the area of the environment. Things take a long time to be realized. Here we are talking about integrating the environment into the curriculum, right? And we do a certain amount in the primary. We need to do more in the secondary. We need to get going on all of that in some sense. There's a gap between what the students are encouraging us to do and what we are actually realizing for all sorts of different reasons. And I think the audit is testimony to the gap, actually, between our dreams of the future and what we're actually able to do right now. So we have to close it in that sense.
We should cancel all international school trips, since flights are one of the top sources of carbon emissions.
So torn. Can I stay here? Is this neutral? Okay. Disagree.
Yeah, disagree. Cultural immersion, right? Or exposure to things that are just not transmissible through a screen. I think we've all realized that through the pandemic as well. There are things that just are lost in translation, in experience when we're talking to each other in bits and pieces, in the digital sense, right? That you can't get unless you're in another place, in some sense, that decentering that happens. When you do that, it seems like case by case, there would be a compelling reason to have some trips go forward. That's I guess why I would stand here.
So there are a multitude of reasons to why I think Project Week needs to be reconsidered. In relation to environmentalism specifically, I think that being able to take a plane and just go anywhere is something that we do a lot. And I think maybe we could take this opportunity to, instead of doing that, show students at CIS the areas of Hong Kong. You can travel within Hong Kong and still be in a brand new environment.
So these trips throughout the years are the only opportunities for these kids to actually be exposed to the outside world, to see what it's like out there, and not just live with the community of people that they grow up with. And it's very important for the kids to be exposed to these things, so that when they do go out into the world, for university or for work or whatever, they're not lost. It's not the first time they do this.
But maybe it's, not offering a week-long trip to Norway or Botswana. It's a little ridiculous.
Yeah, I remember being in year 11 and year 12, looking through this list of exotic locations, and it did feel a little bit ridiculous to be like, okay, first I would like to go to Morocco, and then if I can't go there, then I could go to Mongolia, and if I can't go there, then maybe I'll go to Europe.
Maybe, requiring all trips to China to be by train, or just staying more localized.
In principle, I agree with everything that everyone has said, but I do think that we can strike a balance. I don't think it needs to be all or nothing. And I think that we need to, as people have said, really look at the trips that we're doing and make sure we're doing worthwhile ones. And I think that we need to continue doing some of those trips, because we need to look at what kids are getting from those trips that they wouldn't be able to get if they stayed in Hong Kong.
Because on one hand, I really want to go to Project Week. Everyone's like, oh my god, it's amazing. You get to see all these people and learn about their cultures. And my mom's always telling me, you know, you have to go out one day and you have to see the world. You can't stay in Hong Kong forever. I don't want you to stay in Hong Kong forever. But on the other hand, I always think about when we go on CEP and then we see these students and they've never left their province in China. And I keep thinking, you know, if someone should be burning carbon emissions to explore the world, it's probably you and not me.
So let's just call this a wrap.
There's obviously so much more that we need to be doing across the whole gamut of school life. Clearly in the environment, but the dimensions that people made about intersectionality make me think that there's literally no stone that we have to leave unturned to try to make a difference here.